Okay, so you're probably thinking, why are you posting so many videos today? Why? Well, I'll explain why in just a second. But, the last time I did a live, I forgot to wait until the darn thing loaded up and it said you're live. I just thought going live and then it started. So that's why the other one cut off, and I was like, oh, but I'm not going to do that again because I don't put my time and energy into something and do that again. Now, if I do see comments, note that it may be a little bit distracting for me. Because the last time I did a live, I was on the spot a little bit, but I felt very comfortable with what I was saying, and I wanted to do it. But it is kind of a little, you know, overwhelming because comments are coming in, and you're like, oh well, now I'm on the spot. Now I better make a grand, performance, and I better say this well and do this well. Like, you know what? Scratch that. Okay, I I'm just gonna say what I want to say, and just, yeah. I'm doing this live stream because when I filmed the Venus and Capricorn video a while ago, it was 5 minutes long, an unusually short amount of time for a video, and I was rushed through the whole thing. I got through my points one after the other. I didn't explain any of my points. And the reason why is because there's something that I had to do. I don't remember what it was, something that I had to do, um, and my thing is open, but it's fine. Something that I had to do, and I just wanted to get the video done. I didn't want it hanging over my shoulders. If you go watch that video, I don't want you to watch it. It's not very good. I don't like rushing through my points. Like, it seems like I don't care, and I don't want to show you that I don't care in any of my videos. So I just decided, well, I feel kind of bad about this. Like, I feel really bad about this, and I want you to get the full, understanding of Venus and Capricorn. I mean, now that I'm live, I'll just, guarantee that it's that one video, just so that I'm doubly sure, because this is live, and, you're perfectly imperfect, and there's no editing with live. Yeah. 5 minutes long. I believe that I was rushed through that. So I decided, well, I'm going to do this again because I distinctly remember being rushed, and that's enough, all that I want to say on that. So pretend that this is the very first time you're hearing about me talk about this, and then that video will be gone from the playlist of Venus through the signs, and I will be adding this thing, this live stream to that playlist. Okay, and I'm not going to respond to comments because where I have my phone in direction, that kind of, of course you can, absolutely, that's the whole point, but I don't respond to comments during these live streams, for, reasons I think that you can figure out with my setup here. So let's talk about the real meaning of Venus in Capricorn. Note that I'm not going to go through every single placement again and do a whole, the podcast and everything with my new way of making videos. No, I'm not going to do that. It is not worth my time and energy to do that. The videos are up, they are what they are. I feel no need to do that. I put time and energy into them, and I am not about to redo it and then do one video a day. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I have to set boundaries and limits and say, no, I'm only doing this because that video was rushed and I didn't like it, and I don't want that to be the video on my channel about Venus and Capricorn that you just automatically watch because that's the one that you find. So anyway, getting into this topic, the real meaning of Venus and Capricorn is it approaches love not in a poetic way, not in a I don't know, a a way that's light and fluffy and romantic. It approaches it seriously because Capricorn is the sign of work. It is the sign of I'm working towards something. I'm working towards a goal. And and that's what Capricorn is, and it approaches relationships like achievements. They treat it as such, like a business. They approach it like a business. Now, this is probably the biggest point that I want to emphasize: is relationships have to be long lasting and long term. Short fuse, not nightstand short relationships. Where it's one day, it's one time and event and experience, and very short lasting relationships. Like, no, the relationship has to be sustainable. The relationship has to be um, just built for the test of time. Like, it has to. That's where relationships really have value with Venus in the sign of Capricorn. Now, when I was maybe about 13 or something, I just happened to. I was filming a lot of videos at the time. It was the summer of 2017. All of a sudden, I was outside in my backyard. I filmed a video and I was pretending to be somebody. And I pretended to advertise for this Melback wine place where there's entertainment stuff, there's activities. It's a place for you to, like a rest stop, but with more engaging and entertaining, basically on the road back to where you were in California. And the place would specialize in wines. And I think Malbec is like a Californian term. I'm not exactly sure. But I made it up to be set in Northern California. And I think there's aspects of it that are real, but I kind of just came up with it. Anyway, the metaphor that I want to make with this is like cheese that ages, like, matured meat, as they say. But, one of the things I was reading is about wine. And the metaphor is, it doesn't take just a day or a week for wine to age. It takes months. It takes years. Like, and you even go through testing, like you age a wine for a year, and you're like, it's a little rough on the edges, or whatever they say. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time. So it takes time. Capricorn is the sign of time. It's ruled by Saturn. It's the limitations of time and the reality of time that you can't change, that you can't surrender, that you can't control. Time is what it is, and you can't really do anything about it. You're sort of bound by time. Time is a limitation, and that's one of the lessons of Saturn. So um, so Malbec wines and relationships, like a relationship takes time to grow. You don't just, a lot of relationships that they define, they believe, oh, it takes effort to make the relationship work. Like, when it comes to getting to know the person, you have to get to know their interests, their passions. You have to communicate with them and live with them in the right way. Like, relationship is a serious matter to them, and relationship is work to them, and that's their kind of theme and message that they want to illustrate out into the world. So they want stability in relationships. They absolutely crave stability, things to be stable, and they crave structure. Like, they need structure in relationships, and sometimes the creative aspects of it, like, they need structure. They don't look at that. They need, like, that's a big thought. And so you genuinely want the your partner to take you as seriously as you do. You want the relationship to be serious, and you want to do this. You're taking the relationship seriously. You're stepping up to the plate. You're doing your part. You're working. You expect from the same in return from the partner. Like, don't we work really, really hard at something, and don't we want the same in return? That we put in 100 and the other person putting in 100, or 50-50? Like, it should be an equal thing, and both partners should be doing their part to make the relationship work. Because if one person is carrying the ship and making the whole relationship work, and the other isn't, then you just won't have a relationship. I mean, it's as simple as that. They are cautious in relationships. They don't just go into any old relationship. They say, is this person right for me? Do they match up with my values? Are they going to help me achieve my goals? Are they, like all these criteria, not in a, discerning and critical way like Venus and Virgo that I discussed in that video a year ago, a while back, whenever I filmed that video. But they are very strategic in relationships also. Like there's a strategy, like I'm making the strategy to be with this person that's right for me. The negatives to this placement is because you're so about discipline and structures and rules and boundaries and making things work. You put in the work to make relationships. You put in the work to make relationships work. You put in all this work and time and energy. And then what happens is, what are you left with? Because if you put in all that work, then what are you left with? More work? Or what about the present moment? What about the present moment of the relationship? What about connecting with the partner in, in the present moment? And connecting on an emotional level with them, opening up and sharing your emotions with them. And that's one of the lessons of Venus and Capricorn, because they can be so closed off with their emotions, so closed off that they, miss that. They completely bypass that. And so this is where they need to have a good sense of, these are my emotions. I'm going to express them. I'm going to be open about them, and I'm going to receive the other's emotions and connect in this way. Okay. So opening their heart to show love, discipline is not the same as love. Like boundaries and discipline, those do not equal love. Because discipline, you're cutting your. Discipline is when you are doing something and you're sticking to it, and you're cutting yourself off from love. Cutting yourself off from something, that's discipline. It's like when you're so focused on a goal and you're so determined, you miss the love and relationships. There was a film about this that I was watching where the lady was so determined to make the wedding work, to do all these plans, and to work so hard, and then the husband addressed to her that you're working so hard, but what after the wedding? What is the next thing? You're going to find something else to, it's like after the wedding, I'm going to, do this. After this point, I'm going to do this. Like, no, make a commitment now that you're going to focus on, don't keep pushing it off and pushing it off, but make the commitment now in relationship that you're going to, um, connect and be present with the person as opposed to keep working and working and working. Okay, so, and then eventually she hears a story about how somebody went through college and did that, and eventually she, got her act together and turned around and really opened up to the person, and really was present with the person. And I think being present in relationships is something very important for Venus and Capricorn to learn at times, because they're so focused on their goals, the next best thing. Yeah, that's very beneficial. The next thing is that it's about showing love through consistency, like doing things consistently, like approaching relationships in the same way in mutual respect, like doing things in the same way and showing respect for yourself. And it starts with respect for yourself. It starts with having integrity for your own values and not compromising those values, being very strong in those values, and showing mutual respect to the to the other person in relationships where you're genuinely respecting them. Clearly defined rules in relationship. Again, structure. social societal recognition. Like they're so concerned with at the low road, Capricorn can be so concerned with status and prestige and what others think of them. And they're doing all this work. They're climbing up all these, mountains and achieving all these goals. But for what? For others to get the fame and the recognition. Like, and I want to tie it into social media. I will value what you think, but I will not cater to you in a way that depletes my creative energy, the content that I want to produce, and I will not become in fame with, oh, I'm so good and I have so many followers. Like, I've seen this in movies, I saw this in Darman. If you're probably familiar with Darman, I do have it linked in my short film channels. You're probably familiar. A lot of following, produces short films. There was this one film about this. I'm going to kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent here. There was this one film about this, but it's kind of relating to the same theme almost. One film about this lady who was on Instagram, posted, these posts about like fashion and things, and she was going to all these, events and was vain and self-centered and, negative and in a mood. And she spent all her money and she resisted help. She was difficult to work with, and so she ended up drunk with fame, and she just badmouthed, um, blasted is the word for it, all of the people that made her eventually and the people that she was engaged with. And that's certainly not who I want to turn into. And I can thank my Jupiter and Virgo, which I discussed in depth, probably I would say one of the deepest Jupiter and videos on the internet, if I have to be perfectly honest. If I'm in my humble opinion, and Jupiter and Virgo throughout my whole life has kept me humble. And humility, maybe a little bit ironically, is a lesson for even Capricorn to learn. Because we can get so absorbed with how famous we are and how good we are. And I brought this up in other videos, but I just want to bring up like awards for fame, like awards for recognition. There is this, like, I swear to you, I could see myself getting one of those YouTube play button things. I think I have a plan to throw it in my shed and have nothing to do with it. That's my idea of just getting it and then throwing it in my shed, because people should be awarded for their own efforts alone. The Olympics and all those things, people don't get awarded for how popular. It's not a popularity contest. Like, that messes with people's values. It confuses them. People should not be getting awards for how popular or how many followers they are. They should get awards for their own effort, their own merit, what they put in alone. Not for the recognition, not for the fame. Period. End of story. So that's why I disagree with that. And like, I don't like it when people just show off and say, this means so much to me. Like, it actually shouldn't. And what should mean so much to you is what you have created already with your videos. And look at all the videos, look at all the work I've done to create it. That should matter, not this play button based not on the videos, but how popular they were. And apparently there's this logic that, well, the more popular are, the better your videos. Well, I can kind of see the logic in that, but yet, does it really make the most sense? Like, I don't necessarily agree with that, even though it makes sense in YouTube land. So I will try my darndest not to get it and give into the temptation of making a post, making a video. Like, I am not going to do that, and I will not do it, because I like the AI technology on YouTube. I will not bow down to that play button that I disagree with. It has nothing to do with the ethics of it or whatever, like the AI thing, but it has to do with with just the concept and the intention behind it. So that's my spiel on that play button that I feel so strongly about, that I want to emphasize here. Um, so, so societal recognition. You should be putting the work in because you want the achievement. You feel passionately about this issue, or you're doing this for yourself and your achievements, not for the recognition and the validation, I should say, of others. Like we get awards and things as symbols of validation, like this statue, whatever, validates us. It's just a thing. It has nothing to do with our what we do, what we produce, the effort that we put into it. Like it means nothing. It's just an object that it represents something, but no. So that's what I want to say about that. Share goals, preferably. You want the relationship to have shared goals where it's not just one goal, it's the two working together. The next point that I want to make is Capricorn is a sign, especially Venus in Capricorn, what it values, has a deep respect for tradition. I would say that Capricorn is the sign that relates to history. Because what is history? The tradition and walls that we built, the lessons that we've learned. The point of history is it's a story that is of our humanity, that illustrates the wars and all the events that have happened and the lessons that we have learned. And the point of history, one of the points is that we make mistakes and we learn from them. We don't make the same mistakes again. And Capricorn is about achieving something and faltering and learning from your hardships, not making the same mistake again. So history is very important to Capricorn. I think Venus in Capricorn is very into that. Someone who I know very closely is into art history, probably because of the Pisces energy, in her chart. So that combines with it. But, anyway, I don't want to talk about that too much. But, so yeah, they value tradition. They value relationships done in a conventional, traditional way. Aquarius could care less about that. And I think I discussed that in that Venus and Aquarius video with all the facts and information that I gave you, which I don't make my videos like that now because I find that less is more. But I do provide a lot of good information in those videos that you may want to go back and watch. And so you're going to find the differences between Capricorn and Aquarius is they want to improve society. That's what they have in common. It's wanting to improve society in some way or another. Capricorn in very traditional ways, Aquarius in very unconventional ways. And so being very traditional in relationships, like the way, like you could talk about arranged marriages. You could talk about like the traditional ways of going about relationship. They're gonna be a kind of a stick it to it by the book placement, which is about like this is the way that it's always been done, so we're sticking with it because it's conventional, it's safe, it's tested out, it's that kind of thing. They're all about quality in relationship. What is the quality? How good is the relationship? Building something lasting like a building is also something very, very huge with relationships. Because think of buildings. Do you put all that work into building a building just for it to last a day or a week? You put in all that work for it to last a long time. Because you don't go to all that work just for a day and then tear it down. So that's why buildings are long-lasting. Buildings represent long-term goals. Building a building. There's a song about Capricorn called Rome, and I think it's probably my favorite song out of the whole songs by a lady who did songs for the signs. And Rome wasn't built in a day. And the lyrics illustrate Capricorn very easily. The song is very pretty. It holds a very powerful message about the sign of Capricorn. I'd say that all of her songs are very, very well done. Probably my favorite astrology songs on YouTube. That I first found out about, several years ago, and I really, really liked. My song, I'm an Aries, so mine is about, rebel with the cause. where I'm fighting for things, and I've been doing that recently with you know what. And anyway, so building something long lasting like a building, finances. They're very, very big on finances. Venus deals with money, and so they're good at finances, all that kind of thing. Um, Now they understand the importance of delayed gratification. Because in order for things to be, long term, there's something about Aries energy which is very, very different. I mean, they both Capricorn and Aries want to achieve things, but Aries does it in a very impulsive. I got to get this done now. Very blunt and very direct and very childlike, and at the low level, very immature way. Capricorn does it in a mature, very methodical, very slow and steady, I guess you could say, um, way where they're, putting in the work for that. Um, and so there is the, importance of of delayed gratification when it comes to Capricorn energy. Like, it understands the importance that things take time and it's worth it. Like, you don't just climb up a mountain in a day and be done with it. It takes days, it may take years to achieve a goal, but in the end, this is a huge piece of wisdom with Capricorn energy, is that work is only like the things that you get, like the rewards, the house, the money, the goals. This is a huge piece, like I've already said that, I don't need to repeat myself, is only meaningful because you worked so hard for it, because you've worked for it, because you've achieved it, because you probably struggled through it. And doesn't that make it all the more fruitful and meaningful in the end? And then that great gratification, you work so hard all this time, and then in the end, it's like, I'm getting this, and it's like, this is so worth it. This paid off. So, that kind of thing. They need to balance like their personal relationships and the emotional individual matters with their worldly success and goals and achievements. Another thing is, as much as they have a very, very strong desire to achieve and make things happen in their life, they have a fear of failure. They have a very, very deep fear of failure that is ingrained in them because they put so much pressure and high expectations on themselves. Like, that's their nature. And so they have a fear of failing. And what if I put in all this work and fail? Like, that's like, I cannot stand all for not. I can't stand putting in all this work to like videos, for instance, because that's a close to home example for me right now, because I'm not taking classes at DMEX. So this is a big focus for me in my life right now. But I don't want to make it the only focus, which is why I'm setting a boundary. I'm going to focus on other things a lot this week. No more videos every day or multiple videos every day. But anyway, just they think, why would you put in so much hard work in something and then fail? Well, oh my goodness, I mean, do I really have an explanation for that? I mean, all I can say is, um, you know, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Um, it's better to try and make something happen and fail than to not try at all, because how are you going to know if you're going to fail if you don't try? So there is benefit in failure. And they're like, what's the point if, I'm going to put on in all this work and not, achieve anything out of it? Nothing's going to come out of it. They want to share their, relationship with someone. It's very, very important. Like all Venus signs, they want to share it with someone, but in very Capricorn ways. They want the partnership to leave a lasting legacy. If they would ever moved on for the partnership lasts for a long time. Like, you would often find Venus and Capricorn in relationships that last 50, 40 years. Like, my grandparents had their 50th wedding anniversary back, several years ago. And that, there's something very special and something to be admired about things that last the test of time. Like you've been doing the same things over and over again, and you're still at it. Like I admire that. I honestly admire that when people with their videos, when people with their achievements out in the world, like that's admirable, and there's something to be said about that. Um, and sharing their relationships with someone, as I said before. So partnerships leaving legacies. You'd often find them in relationships that last a long time, and they really value that. Capricorn is one of the top signs of the zodiac, and the whole thing about the zodiac wheel is it starts at Aries, the child, and it ends at Pisces, the very, very old person, transitioning into the other world, transitioning into death. Like that's Pisces energy. It marks the transition from life to death. And so, and it's like a conclusion and a culmination of all the other signs before it. But Capricorn is second to that, and like the more the signs go, the more wiser and more evolved they become. It's like stepping stones. Like I started Aries, which is the self, my identity, what I want towards you as the earthly experience, my values, my senses, material possessions like money, and then you're so stuck in that. So you're a Gemini, you're curious about it. And you're opening your mind, you're thinking about ideas and thinking like it just goes on and on and on, and until it evolves into when it gets to Capricorn, it's very, very wise at that point. Um, and so Capricorn really believes very strongly in its heart that with age comes wisdom, and that is a necessary truth. I did I'm not going to go and I did show this in this video, I showed this in that video. Like, I don't want to keep promoting my videos like I shared this. Like, it's so tempting to want to do that. I don't want to do that all the time. I don't want to say, oh, I shared this in this video. You should go check out. Like, it's okay to do that enough, but when you're doing that like so much, it's like, can you just be focused and just focus in on this video only? Like, I want to do it, but I totally get it. So, with age comes wisdom. The older you get, the wiser you grow, and you can only learn through experiences. And wisdom is knowledge plus experience. The knowledge that you have, the intellectual knowledge, the book smart knowledge, the lessons that you've learned through the experiences that you've had in your life. And Capricorn believes the more experienced you are, the wiser you are. And there's certainly a lot of things that I've experienced in my life. I think I can. Oh, I don't want to go to all the work to make events that have impacted my life and how they impact my life now. Oh, that's too much work. I don't want to do that. But I have had a fair amount of experiences and that kind of thing. So they value they need to value emotions and open up their heart as opposed to just success. Like, it's not about going out into the world and achieving things all the time. Like, sometimes there's tender qualities of emotion, opening up your heart, which is what the opposite sign, Cancer, can teach Capricorn, is to open up into the emotions. Because again, you cannot have relationship without open and emotional connection between the partners. That is a fact. That is a period. And if Capricorn really truly wants long-term relationships, and if they don't have their heart open, how long is that relationship seriously going to last? Only so long, but it's going to fizzle out and die away. They need to balance it out with Cancer to open up their heart so that the relationship can truly be a long-term relationship. And surely, if they're so serious about it, they would evolve with Cancer. So you put in the work to make love a success. Like, that's the real point that I want to make. Loyalty. The next point that I want to make, I'm kind of going a little bit out of order here. But loyalty, is being somebody, being with somebody, being with someone through the hard times and the good times. Um, being with them, when I was reading about it one day, it said through thick and thin, which I shouldn't have to quote because it's a common phrase. Why should I even have to quote that? It's so common. I should just say thick and thin. Like I said that, and I was like, that's not worth quoting. It's common phrase. So yeah, but I did it anyway, and at least I did it in a direct way, not a unsure, hesitant kind of way. Um, um, loyalty, being with someone through the hard times and the good times. Loyalty is being, committed to someone and being willing through being with them through their struggles and challenges. Like that's what loyalty is. It isn't just very conditional where you're, loyalty. I'll be loyal up to this point. I'll be loyal if the circumstances are this way. Like you want to be loyal to the person through through all their experiences. The last thing I want to leave you with is a song by Barbara Streisand, which is a song from my absolute most favorite album. I have it. I got it for Christmas last year. My favorite album by her is her Walls album. It is a really wonderful album, and it basically tells the story of the problems in society of today and America specifically, and it illustrates that through all the songs. That's what the message is trying to do. There's a song about Donald Trump. There's a song about the Statue of Liberty and how we're all united and standing together. And the song Walls specifically, and a song like, it's a wonderful world, how the world could be better, how the world could be a better place. There's a song in the album about there are better angels, you get the point. um, so the song is about basically walls that, walls is a structure. And this relates to Capricorn energy and Venus and Capricorn's meet. Venus is a planet of love and hard relationship that I want to leave you with that I think is so Venus and Capricorn, which is a lesson that they need to learn, that they really, really need to take into consideration. I want to leave you with this food for thought. Walls as a structure, think of them. As the song says, they keep you out, they keep you in. If you're stuck in a wall, then you're stuck in it. But then you're, um, uh, you know, um, out of it, but you're at it. Like I'm trying to find a way to explain this. Like you're within a structure, but yet if you're on the other side of that without a structure, like it overlaps. So walls keep you inside structures, but they also block you from entering new structures. Like they're boundaries. Walls represent blocks and boundaries. Emotional walls, the song claims, last longer and are more powerful and commonly found than the walls made of stone. And what that means is that the emotional walls that you build up between people because they've done something wrong to you or because you're shy and believe me, I was very, very shy growing up. You would probably not guess that through my recent videos. But I never imagined I would be on YouTube and doing these things when I was little. I never imagined it. I would be like, uh, I can't believe that and I can't fathom that. Like I would be like like really? I find that unbelievable. And maybe somebody suggested you should be on YouTube a long time ago and I dismissed that and like asked a question or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, um we build these emotional walls because of resistance to others, and those walls can be very very restricting of us, and we keep that from opening up our hearts and showing love and compassion, really receiving from the person and opening up from the person receiving their love, receiving their kindness, um, and connecting with them in an emotionally based, connected way. So that's what the song was trying to express, and that's a very, very powerful lesson of Venus and Capricorn. If you want to know more about this, I have a live stream on my original channel, the one with the black, avatar picture and the beach, picture of mine with a lot of videos. I will go in there and delete a lot of those videos because for a time, I had this thing about I wanted to have more videos than followers, more videos than followers. Now, the only thing that matters to me is a lot of videos, and I don't care I don't care if I get more followers than videos now. I don't want videos to be repeated on my channel or what videos from my channel and other channels. Like I don't want that anymore. So I will go in and get rid of those videos. But in the live streams, if you scroll down, you'll find a live stream called, Walls, about walls. I did that way back in 2022. But that was me back then. I had pimples all over my face. I was just starting out on YouTube, so don't mind that. Um, but but I go in depth as to the meaning of walls, and I really do. I used to do those really philosophical, deep, meaningful live streams. I don't do that anymore. I do that more in written posts. I do live streams now for my 3 weekly videos, and I alternate my content like I do. Um, sometimes podcasts, sometimes live streams, sometimes videos of just me or a PowerPoint presentation. I want to do more of those. So you can find that. I do want to announce that next week I will be at my grandparents' house for the first time in a while since I've got out of the hospital. I want to do a live stream over Jupiter and Libra, but circumstances will not allow me to do that because of the setup there, so I'm not going to do that over there. And I am not going to sit and edit a whole video um, when I'm at my grandparents'. It's going to take away from me connecting with family. It's going to consume my day, and I would feel very, very guilty for that, and I don't want that. So it will be all podcasts when I'm there. It will be a podcast over um, tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a podcast and discussion about Neptune and Aries because I didn't do that. Like anything goes on the Monday podcast, transits, astrology, whatever. And so that's a great excuse for me to talk about other important energies going on astrologically. Sometimes I won't do that. It may not be like that all the time. So discussion on Neptune and Aries and what that means since the Saturn-Neptune conjunction was just recently, if you're watching this on the day that this goes live. Um, and then that's all for this week. On Friday, I'm going to talk about the lunar eclipse in Virgo, and I'm going to get into the aspects of that, what goes on. Like the full moon and new moon videos are the only ones where I actually talk about aspects in my videos because it's so specific. A full moon comes around every year. So, I'm going to get into the specific aspects, and it's on one particular day, and talk about the real meaning of that in that episode of my podcast that I've started. Saturday is going to be Jupiter in the sign of Libra, and then Sunday, I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do the other transit. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Um, maybe I'll do something else. I don't know. But my idea is a big podcast episode about Pluto and Aquarius because it's such a huge topic, because it's the biggest transit going on. And I want to give it the full depth and discussion that I don't think that I gave it on the video I filmed several years ago about it. So I want to do that again. I'm not going to redo every video that I did because that takes away the fun of it. That's burdensome. Like I want to do the things that really matter to me a lot and I think deserve a lot of attention. Like I will not do the Jupiter and Virgo video again because I put my blood, sweat, and tears into actually presenting the information to you, and there's no way that I'm going back, taking that down, or doing that again. at all. And if that video didn't work out, I would be furious. I would be furious if that video didn't save or didn't work out. I would be livid about that. Like, really. I could go on about that. I didn't want to leave you hanging any longer. Thank you for tuning in, and bye for now.